Shalom Aleichem. I want to share some ideas about what our sages talk about machlokas l'shem shemayim. There's a concept in the Talmud, in the Mishnah, in Pirkei Avos, and Ethics of our Fathers, that it says like this: any argument that's for the sake of heaven, that's machlokas l'shem shemayim, in its end it will continue, and if it's not for the sake of heaven, it will not. Yesterday I was listening to a radio show. It's from here in New York. It's called Religion on the Line. You have Rabbi Joseph Potasnik from the New York Board of Rabbis, and there's a Catholic deacon, Kevin McCormick, and they discuss religious issues, and they have different guests. And they had a guest who was espousing a reform movement within Islam. And, I'm Jewish. It's not really my business to boss around other religions, and I find it a little distasteful, actually, to even espouse a view. I really find the concept of freedom of religion in the Jeffersonian sense that we find here in the United States to be something that appeals to me very much, which does go along with what was stated on that show, and so there's nothing that I disagree with. It's just, I leave it to the other religions to decide how their religion is. I have enough to deal with my own, although it's certainly a positive thing, and it's not our business to take sides necessarily, but it's certainly a positive development, and I guess we can hope that it should get stronger. But that's not really the point of what I was bringing up. This deacon McCormick, he made a very interesting statement. He said he, as a Catholic, felt that what he was going to say might offend a lot of Catholics, but he said that the Catholic Church had only what to gain from Martin Luther, that Martin Luther made the Catholic Church better. And I understand very well where he came from there. Within our communities, for example, you have secession battles of when one rabbi passed away, who's going to succeed him, and it might split between two brothers or brothers-in-law or uncles and nephews and this and that, whatever it is. And I have always said, and many people I'm close with have said, that's a good thing. When too much power is centralized in one place, it's not good. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, but not only that, competition brings out the best. But not only, and we see that in our free market society. Why in the United States do we have more ingenuity, not only financial success, but technological advancement and so forth, than other countries? Because of the free market system, that the spirit of competition, which comes from freedom, produces the best results by trying. You might fail a bunch of times, but eventually you'll get to it. But when freedom is inhibited, there's no room for that. And so too, in the United States, among all religions, I feel the United States has brought out the best in religion. I'll give an example that I heard from a Muslim friend of mine. It said that, that if you observe Ramadan in Saudi Arabia, where they change the clocks so that you're sleeping all day and you only get up to work and eat at night, so what does that really mean? But when you have to go to work and have all your coworkers eating and you're fasting, so then it means spiritually and intellectually, it's a much greater commitment. And of course, we could say the same thing for our own religion. When you have the competitions, it produces a better product. Whatever it is in different Hasidic communities, they got very big and then they split, and that was a good thing, because the split meant that now each side they can't rest on their laurels. Each side has to compete to offer the best quality product, the best schools, the best newspapers, the best, kosher meat, whatever it is, they want the best. And when it was just one big conglomerate, there wasn't the competition, and so it didn't cross anyone's mind. And so too, I would say, all the competitions have really been best things for us, whether it's other religions, certainly other major religions that have come from Judaism, have given us a time to go back and think. And even within our communities, the different movements, whether the movements are within the realm of normative, halachic, and proper philosophy of Judaism, or have gone away from them, either way it makes us think. And we should really welcome these opportunities to reflect on ourselves and think about ourselves. And that's, I think, the concept of machlokas l'shem shemayim, that an argument for the sake of heaven really brings out the best in us, because it makes us to stop and think, well, why do we do this? And what is this for? Or how, are we doing this right? We can't be so sure of ourselves, that's, I think, and, even, for example, let's say, vis-a-vis Christianity, that makes us stop and think, well, are we really earning our rewards, which Christians would call salvation, or is it really ultimately grace? Now, although we don't believe that the method of the grace is the same, but I remember other rabbis, we've sat in interfaith meetings, and they've asked, well, no, ultimately we have to recognize that we're dependent on God's grace. Now, the mechanism is totally different. We have directly from God, but still, we have to engender within ourselves humility. And if we become self-righteous, then we miss the point of the Torah. And so that causes us to stop and think, not to be self-righteous, but rather to seek humility. And that is the mechanism for our grace, is humility. It's the Psalms say that a humble and contrite spirit are the sacrifices of God. There you see, but it doesn't mean we stop trying. Just the opposite. We seek to be better. We don't give up. We have this message of joy, this message of hope, and not a message of self-righteousness. And by virtue of the differences and the machlokas, which is really, I've always argued that dissent Machlokes, argument, is sacred in Judaism. Every page of the Talmud is arguments. When we embrace that, we become better for it. Not when we win, but when we learn. And that's what we do. That's why we learn in pairs in yeshivas. We have chavrusas who sit and have a study partner to argue. And the goal is not to win, but to learn. And ultimately, the message has to be that we have to take in something. If you look in the Psalms, twice it says, "Before me always." I said